Good evening and welcome to the Business Day. I'm Andrea Chisholm. The private sector organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, says the Bank of Jamaica was too eager to increase its policy interest rate. This and other concerns surrounding the economy were discussed at a forum on Wednesday. Javon Keys reports.
The Bank of Jamaica BOJ has added 450 basis points to its policy interest rate, bringing it to 5% effective May, a decision the private sector organization of Jamaica PSOJ disagreed with from the initial rate hike in September 2021, and 6 months later, the organization still holds that view.
Our view is that the Bank of Jamaica should not have increased the policy rate by as much as it did because of the source of the inflation. It's not a case of that inflation is demand driven. It is being cost push. You see where it is that the cost of import is going up, the cost of shipping, etc. So it is actually that which is driving the inflationary impulse and not as a result of a demand phenomenon. So we do think that the Bank of Jamaica, in terms of its response of 450 basis point adjustment in 6 months, is significant.
Member of the PSOJ's Economic Policy Committee, Theodore Mitchell, says the decision could be detrimental to medium-term growth, especially for businesses.
If it is that interest rates remain at these levels for an extended period, with a slowdown in growth to the business sector, it will actually lead definitely to a reduction in investment, and you will see it on the growth side in terms of lower growth, over the medium to long term.
The BOJ has, however, defended its decision over the last 6 months. Other central banks have also hiked their policy rates, including the U.S. Fed. Meanwhile, Vice President of the PSOJ, Dr. Adrian Stokes, says other fiscal operations by the BOJ are also adding pressures to the market.
In terms of its open market policy operations, its buying and selling of securities, those things are driving up interest rates also in a very, very significant way. As I indicated before, 30-day rates are close to 8%, which means that if you're a business trying to borrow for 2 years, 5 years, forget about 10 years, I don't think anybody's lending for 10 years, then it means that your business is going to have a very, very hard time rolling over loans or borrowing for any reasonable period.
For the Business Day, I'm Javon Keys.
The Bank of Jamaica has appointed a new deputy governor. Effective June 16, Dr. Jide Lewis will serve as deputy governor with responsibility for the Financial Institutions Supervisory Division. He will also be the deputy supervisor of banks, financial holding companies, and other specified financial institutions. Dr. Lewis is a career central banker who has been with the BOJ since 2004 as an economist and later chief economist for the Economic Information and Publications Department. He will succeed Deputy Governor and Deputy Supervisor Maureen Sims, who demits office this month. She served the BOJ for over 40 years. The U.S. currency is being traded for an average $154.71. $125.03 is the going rate for the Canadian dollar and $195.19 for the pound. It's costing an average $167.67 for the euro. To the stock market now, the JSE index declined by 1,934 points today, while the junior market index lost 11 points. Among the advancers, JMMB Group 7.25%, JMMB Group 5.75% cumulative redeemable shares, US dollar shares rather, Mayberry Jamaican Equities, Siboney Group, and JMMB Group 7.5%. Among the losers, Epley 7.5% preference shares due 2024, Honeybun 1982, Communities and Workers of Jamaica CCU deferred share, Cygnus Credit Investments US dollar shares, and Radio Jamaica. And that's it for the Business Day. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Good evening.